My name is Eduardo Diaz, Managing Partner at Crosspoint Solutions, and I would like to share with you how to assure value through flawless process execution. First of all, we will need to define success. And success is defined by our customers. We need to know who they are, what do they want, when do they want our value proposition, either a product or a service, where do they want it, how do they want it, and are they willing to accept or pay for whatever we're doing? Customers have their particular requirements, which then they are translated towards our product or service, which then they need to be translated to the process requirements in order to fulfill, again, this value proposition. We need to start establishing or understanding such relationships in order to see if we are successful. If we comply towards the process requirement and also comply towards the product requirements, most certainly we will know if we are efficient. If the product complies to its requirements, now we will need to know if we are complying towards the customer's requirements. And that will tell us how effective are we on delivering this value proposition. Once we understand such relationship, we need to start measuring in order to define success. If we're in a coffee business, delivering cups of coffee, the customer has expressed their needs. They want a good cup of coffee. Yes, there could be other requirements. They could also expect friendliness in the service. They could also expect some type of comfort if they want to drink their coffee in the store. But right now, we're just going to focus in terms of the cup of coffee itself. So if that's the case, the customer's requirements need to be translated into product specification. In this example, it could be things related to temperature, things related to time, to price, to aroma, to color. And then we will need to establish which are those values to measure success. There are several techniques that can help us out to understand such values. There are proactive techniques like polls, like surveys, direct observation, and there also could be some passive approaches like reviewing whatever the customers are telling us through the 1-800 numbers or maybe claims, warranties, and that will give us as well some information upon what are they expecting in the numerical side. Now we understand the customer's requirements, that they could be vague to some extent. That's why we need to start capturing the corresponding values so we could measure ourselves, like how are we delivering that cup of coffee and how we are managing all the resources that we are using in this given transformation piece. So once we start measuring, now we could start going to the back end. Okay, so those outcomes or those requirements, they are fulfilled throughout the process of your preparing coffee. In the process of preparing coffee, there are some input variables or resources that we're using in order to do this transformation. Things like we have the customer, the menu options, the order, whatever the requirement is translated to a work order. The employees which are delivering or managing this process, and so on. Once we start understanding such relationships and we start capturing information upon the outcomes, and this is just an illustration, but you're just making there a chart of what's the value of the temperature of the different orders that we have served. The same thing upon time. And we already know such specs. There are also, and those are quantitative things that we could be measuring, but you could also have qualitative things like the aroma and the color. This will be giving us an idea of how things are related and start understanding what will we need to do process-wise to deliver value through flawless process execution. What are we trying to do? We're trying to simplify and perfect our process. Are there ways to eliminate waste? How can we simplify the process? Meaning eliminating some process steps and increase efficiency and speed. So basically speaking, doing the right things and adding value. Whereas if we're trying to perfect the process, how can we reduce variation? How can we eliminate defect? How can we improve consistently in order to have processes that are repeatable and reproducible attending this value proposition. Lean Sigma can help us out in order to assure value through the flawless process execution. And Lean Sigma, basically speaking, is a continuous improvement initiative which has ambitious projects, which is deployed or launched by upper management, which is adopted by all the managerial team across the company, and is executed through potential future leaders that will be using the method in order to solve in terms of simplifying our processes and perfecting them. And also measuring performance metrics or indicators to know how well are we servicing the customer requirement. Because everything we're doing in a company, regardless if it's a job function, a business area, we're part of a value chain. So Lean Sigma looks over processes and the way they're delivering value. It's all about acknowledging alignment and connections regarding strategy, customers, processes, and all the associates, trying to identify projects that will help us out in this journey of simplifying and perfect. The way to identify projects, it could be through a top-down approach, coming from the strategy and seeking for opportunities to accomplish such objectives. We could have a bottom-up approach in terms of things that are not going well, or problems, errors, unsatisfied customers, inefficiencies throughout the process, which they translate to cost, things that require attention business-wise, and projects can come from those areas as well. What we're trying to do while deploying Lean and Six Sigma as an initiative using the method throughout projects, we start establishing this model that needs to be fostered by top management, adopted by all the managerial teams across the organization, having the right projects, selecting the right project leaders, following upon the delivery and execution of projects, accomplishing these competitive advantages, doing things better, faster, lower cost, safer. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Feel free to contact me for anything that we may be adding value together. Thank you very much.